So welcome to Kabbalah Explained Simply. This week we're going to talk about the power of intention. So what is this intention that we hear about? A lot of different New Age methods talk about the intention. It's related to an extent to meditation in some methods as well. Is there a difference between good deed that's driven by an intention and a spiritual intention? Can an intention actually change reality? Can our intention influence ourselves, the people around us, humanity, everything, the universe, the stars that are millions and trillions of miles away? Can our intention influence all of that? So the short answer is yes, it can. And in this session, we're going to delve deeper into it and talk about what this intention is. All right, so are you ready? Hopefully you are. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you enjoy this so more people can join us and share this common and mutual journey with us as well. So that would be highly appreciated if you just click that button there. That basically tells Facebook and YouTube that you like this, and then maybe more people will also like it. So Facebook and YouTube show it to other people as well. Okay, let's get into it. So let's first of all start off with reminding you that you can ask any question in the chat. I'll be looking at the chat. So I have a chat here and here. So I'm not looking away from you. I'm actually looking at you when I'm doing that. So feel free to write questions there in the chat. And Rachel is with me here. Well, she's actually at home, but she's with me. She's posting links to videos I might be referring to, or links to sign up to our course on Kabbu. So you can be checking out the chat for relevant links. Okay, let's get into it. So first question is, what is the intention? So let's start with the most basic fundamental answer. If I ask, what's your intention, then, you can just literally understand the word, what do you intend? Right? So if we're talking about intention on the most basic corporeal level, then your intention is what you intend. And according to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, there is only one thing that all of humanity intends for. And that thing is, who knows? If you know, then write it in the chat. I'm sure many of you wrote the right answer, and the right answer is to receive pleasure. That's it. That's the only thing we intend for. That's our natural intention. Right? Sometimes it can be translated as wanting to eat something, or wanting to get married, or wanting to put a lot of effort in and finish my master's or bachelor's or PhD or whatever. And that's my intention. My intention is always on the level of this world. It's always in order to receive something for myself. Now, why is that? To understand why that is, we need to understand what is the only substance in reality. So this isn't the topic of the lesson, so we're not going to go deep into it. I'm just going to mention it briefly, that before there was anything, before there was time and space, there was only a thought, right? And so let's say, 14 billion years ago, Big Bang. It's funny, as the years go by, then I ask myself, wait a minute, does the 14 billion years change? Because I said this 10 years ago, and then I remember that, it's billions, so it's not going to change in my lifetime. So it's always going to be 14 billion years, and around that time, 14 billion years ago, there was a Big Bang, and before that, before there was even time, the Bible describes it as tohu vavohu, as like this unknown mess of darkness or unknown, but actually what there was something. There was a thought, right? And that thought belonged to, I don't want to start calling names and say the G name, God and all that, because it will immediately spark up misconceptions you might have from your upbringing, from your religions, etc. So let's call it there was a force. All right, let's even call it a force of nature. Why force of nature? Because that is, that's in Kabbalah, then this force is equivalent to nature. Let's just put it like that. And this force is a force of absolute bestowal, of absolute giving, That's all it was. It had nothing else in it. Imagine all the goodness you can. Close your eyes. Think of all the goodness you would want for yourself, for your family, for all of humanity. Imagine all of that multiplied by a trillion, and maybe you'll get a drop of what this force I'm relating to is. So call it God if you want, but it's not God that you hear about in religions. No, it's something else. It's a force. It's a law of nature. And this force, this law of nature, it wanted to give, so what it created something exactly opposite of itself. It created something to receive. And that's it. That's the only thing that was created. So when you look around you and anything you see and feel and touch and anything you perceive in this reality, if you look at a pen, or if you look at a plant, or if you look at an animal or at a human being, they're all different levels of that same substance that was created. That is a will to receive. In previous sessions I mentioned that when I started studying Kabbalah, I was always searching. That's actually why I started studying Kabbalah, and that's also why I started studying physics. I have a bachelor's in physics, and it was the same reason that first led me to physics, found no answers there, and then to Kabbalah, and it was to find a single, simple equation that defined everything in reality. I knew there had to be something simple. You know, equations are good, they can describe and define things, but I knew there had to be something that's just explains everything in a simple way, because reality is elegant. You know, equations at the end, they become something elegant. So when I came to Kabbalah and I heard about this, then I was blown away, because suddenly everything made sense. That all of reality, that single equation, all of scientists have been looking for their entire lives. Einstein died wanting to find it but didn't succeed. This unified theory, Kabbalah says it very simply, and thousands of years ago, that everything that was created is a will to receive. That's it. That's the only thing that was created. And nothing other than that. So why are we talking about the will to receive? Because when we're starting to talk about what our intention was, so like I answered you, the intention is what we intend for. So if we are a will to receive, right? So let's go back to this illustration for a second. This lesson isn't going as planned, but maybe that's a great thing, because I see we had a lot of viewers. So maybe you're bringing in this new kind of deficiency, and that's maybe what I'm talking to. So ask questions, I'll relate to them. But let's roll with it. All right. So that same desire was created. Something happened here. I'm not going to go into that now. Something that went through 125 degrees of concealment of that same light, and all that remained was this tiny little spark of this giving force and a tiny little spark of the receiving force, and these two forces together were the beginning of the Big Bang. And through that, all of the desire evolved in nature, and it went through different levels of development, right? It went through the still, the vegetative, animate, until finally the speaking. And then also the speaking went through levels of evolution. Once upon a time wanted only animalistic desires like food, like sex, like family, and then it evolved more into social desires like money, like honor, like knowledge, power, etc. And still everything that surrounds us is all driven by that same desire, by that same will to receive. Right? And it's really important to understand this if we start talking about intention, because intention is actually something different in Kabbalah. It's something that's outside of that. So let's say we're talking about this, and this is where we are today, more or less, right? So let's say today, and today something is happening here. Today, that's what I wrote here. There you go, today. Okay, so something is happening today, and an intention is forming. It's not the intention we think about right now. It's not what we're thinking of. It's something different. It's an intention that that's building up inside of us. We don't yet have it, but we can get it, and it can change everything around us. It can even move this pen. It can do much more than that. It can move everything and everyone you know to something better, to something more advanced. All right, so since our only substance is this will to receive, And that's all we have, and that's the only thing that evolved right here, right? So this same desire that evolved and evolved and evolved, this is the will to receive, and then everything that we intend for, everything that we think about, is simply us thinking of how to receive something, right? So we can think about how to receive simple things like food, or sex, or partnership, or relationships, or money, or anything like that, or more advanced things like we want to think of how to receive knowledge, so we might have to spend years on that. But you could say that in corporeality, then intention is what I intend for, what I want. And basically I want different things all the time in my will to receive, right? So a question from David: why do Kabbalists always say we don't yet have this? Does this apply to everyone? It applies to all those that haven't yet attained what I'll be discussing in a moment. So if you have already attained that, then you know. But most people who think they have the right intention, they're simply not defining correctly what the intention is. Okay? So is the intention, a lot of New Age methods, they relate intention and meditation, and they say, that if you focus on something like a rock or a flower or something, maybe that's an intention. So in Kabbalah, that's not really an intention. You could say that's maybe meditation or things that I'm not going to go into now, because we're not talking about meditation, we're talking about intention according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, but that is not intention in Kabbalah. If you really focus on something, and even if you collectively focus on it, 1,000 people focus on something, even if it's something that seems good, that isn't necessarily an intention. It could be, but it's not necessarily an intention. All right. In that case, so what is an intention? So in Kabbalah, an intention is what takes me outside of my will to receive and connects me to something higher in reality. Right? So let's go, and it seems like I'm kind of doing a summary today of all previous sessions, and maybe even a summary of the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is fine. So let's go back to this person over here, and this person is, let's say, is a black box, which doesn't really know what's outside in reality, only that we're connected to reality through our senses, right? So we can see, we can hear, we can feel, we can touch, etc. So we have 5 senses, and we don't really know what's outside of these senses, right? We only, we can't even imagine, actually. All we know that there might be something outside, because these 5 senses of ours, something is going through them, right? So we have these 5 senses: see, smell, touch, hear, and taste. And all these senses, in fact, they're not senses at all. They're filters to something that's outside. Well, they are senses, but they're not openings to what is outside. So what's outside, we really don't know, and no one knows, actually. There was, a whole evolution of science, thinking different things about this, from Newton, who thought that reality stood whether or not we examine it, until today scientists is clear that we have no idea what reality is, and doesn't even exist before we measure it is a question. This is what quantum physicists are saying today. And it's true, and Kabbalah says even more so, that there is no reality outside of you. So everything you see and perceive and touch and feel and taste, it's all a reflection of your internal qualities. Now, how is this related to the intention? Because as long as you're perceiving what's outside of you, let's do it a different color, through this intention, through, let's call it, your will to receive, right? As long as you're doing it through your will to receive, then it's not an intention in Kabbalah. And you can be thinking about anything. You can even be doing amazing deeds. You can be helping humanity and volunteering, or you could be doing the opposite such deeds, such as harming humanity or who knows what. But in Kabbalah, there is no difference between these actions and those actions on a spiritual level, because they're all corporeal and they're all through that single intention of reception for oneself, right? So in Kabbalah, a true intention is an intention that is done through an additional sense, one that is connected to that thought of creation. Remember this thought. So this thought, it stays out throughout the entire process. It's just concealed. And an intention is something that is connected to that force. That's a true intention in Kabbalah. Now, why is that different than the intentions that I drew here in blue? Why is that any different? It's simple, because that's the only intention that isn't thinking of just myself on the expense of others, and it's doing the exact opposite. It's thinking, well, not the exact opposite, it's just thinking of the others, basically. So in Kabbalah, an intention is something that brings me to balance with nature, right? And we can look at it in even more Kabbalistic terms, for those of you who want to get a bit of the Kabbalistic terms, but I'll just give it a slight touch. So basically, if this is us, let's say we're a vessel, like we said, we're a vessel to receive. Let's just copy that here. Okay. So in Kabbalah, if all we want is to receive for ourselves, that isn't considered an intention. So what we have here is we have a desire to receive, right? This is this vessel, because that's what we are, and listen carefully, that cannot change. The fact that we are a desire to receive can't and won't change, because that's our substance. Now, if I intend in order to receive, let's say for myself, then that's a corporeal thought. That's no different than anything or anyone in all of reality, in all of humanity, that is, or most of people, let's say 99.9999%, right? That's a corporeal, let's say, intention. And what's a spiritual intention? By the way, a corporeal intention has very little power on the system. It has power, it has influence on the system, but it's small, and I'll explain in a minute why it has small impact on the system. So a Kabbalistic intention is that I receive something, but I have something here, like it's called a screen in Kabbalah, but actually this screen, or the masach, is the intention. This is a true spiritual intention, and it basically means that I'm intending that everything that hits me, every, let's call it abstract light that hits me, I calculate. I make a calculation. Am I receiving it for myself or for the well-being of others? And whenever I can't receive for the well-being of others, then I reject. I push away from myself. And whatever I can receive for the well-being of others, that I can receive. And that's my intention. My intention is for bestowal, to be in order to bestow. All right? So that's a spiritual intention. Now, why is the spiritual intention so much more powerful, you can't even describe in numbers, than a corporeal intention? That goes back to understanding the structure of creation. So again, I have no idea where this is coming from today. I didn't plan to talk about all of this. But let's do it. You can see our comments in the chat and in the I can see a lot of comments here, which is great. Keep commenting. I'm going to check back on the chat in a few moments and take some questions as well. So if you have questions related to this topic, then please ask them. I will get to them in a second. And actually, what we'll do in a few minutes, we'll do a collective intention together, all of us together, all right? How about that? So we'll do that in a few minutes. So start tuning yourselves internally. It'll be from all around the world, from all the students that are watching us. I think we have a couple of hundreds now together on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll do it all together, and we'll try and change reality. And let's see if we'll succeed. And our personal light, everything around us. Let's see if we can give it a boost of light. Okay, I was going to explain why the corporeal intention and the spiritual intention, why one is so weak in comparison to the other. So let's take a look. So let's say, I'm here, and what I have is I have a corporeal intention. Now, to understand what this corporeal intention is, let's go back to here. So when there was this thought of creation, etc., before it all shattered down, there was a certain level here, which I'll zoom into, which is the world of Atzilut. And that doesn't really matter what it's called. What matters is, I'll zoom in, like I'll draw it here just so there's more room. Basically, there was a single soul created here. And it's called the soul of Adam, or Adam Harishon. And in this single soul, that's our root, all of our roots. Yours, David, and yours, Javier, and Yana's, and Manuk's, and Jessica, and Roger's, and Teresa, Kurt, Nadine, Mark, Craig, Jose, Christine. All of our roots, we all belong to this soul. And we were a single soul, all of us together. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Maybe a little bit cramped, right? No, it's not cramped. We actually all have that inner feeling inside of us, and even we're wired to that, by the way. We're wired for that connection. It's a bit conflicting, because if you look at the human body is wired for social connection. If we're connected to other people positively, then our body emits oxytocin, which is known as the love hormone. It's also emitted when mothers breastfeed or when you hug someone loved. And we're wired for this. So when we connect with others positively, then our body supports that. And when we're isolated from others, then our body emits cortisol, which is like a depression hormone. It has some good benefits as well, but usually if it's emitted through social isolation, etc., then it's bad for us and it leads to depression, etc. Our entire biochemical structure is driven for a connection. However, there's like a conflicting force in us that drives us to take advantage of others. It's like we have these two forces in us even on the corporeal level, right? So this actually, us being built for positive social connection, that stems from the fact that we were in fact once all connected. We were in fact like a single body, that we were all different parts of that body, each with its own unique role. It's not that we're all same, in this system and everyone's the same. No, every single piece of that soul, every single one of you has a unique part in that general collective soul. But what happened to that soul is it shattered. Now, we're not going to go into why it shattered now. Just in one sentence, it shattered so we can rebuild it consciously ourselves. But that's it. That's what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to go back to why that influences the intention. So because we're all shattered pieces of that soul, then when I'm, let's say, who should we pick on? I'll pick on you, David, if that's all right. So this is David, and David has a corporeal intention. So he can intend for a lot of things in this world, and what happens is that there is power to that intention of his, of wanting to receive, but it's very weak. And the reason why it's weak is because the driving force of reality isn't from this world. The driving force of reality is from the spiritual world. Oh, sorry, I'm drawing David, but you're not seeing my screen. Okay, so here's David. Hope it's okay, David. If not, I'll take it down, I guess. If not, then it's not you, it's a different David. Okay, so anyway, so David has an intention, a corporeal intention in this world. And then the reason why it's so weak is because it all stems from a single point, from a shattered piece of the collective soul. So that's it. That's where it comes from. Now, let's say David is listening to this lesson now, and David wants to intensify his intention and really do something great and change everything. So if David understands that his part of the soul of Adam Harishon and David wants to connect himself to that entire system. It doesn't matter if you know the name or not. It's very simple. We are all part of this single system that we don't feel it now because it's been concealed from us. And the reason why it's concealed from us is because we need to consciously evolve to that level. We need to choose it freely. We can't just be driven there blindly, because then we're not active participants. So nature is driving us to be actively part of this. So back to David's intention. If David now understands that he is actually this little spark of this entire collective soul, and he tries to connect to his intention to this entire system, what he's doing, he's amplifying the power of that intention to reflect from the entire system. So he's not influencing reality just through this tiny dot with corporeal intentions for oneself, like these kind here. No, what he's doing is he's influencing all of reality from this entire network that we're all part of. And that is a true intention in Kabbalah. Okay, so I want to show you guys a short clip, and after this clip we'll do a collective action of intention. So I want everyone to start focusing themselves. So it's going to be a mass collective action of intention from all around the world. And we'll do it in a second, but first I want to show you a clip from my teacher, Kabbalist Dr. Michael Laitman, where he talks about the intention. So let's check it out.
If the intention weakens, then there's nothing to talk about. The intention has to be stronger and stronger and increasing throughout the study, since all the friends have to think together. And if each one of them has an intention, that is impossible that one of us falls in intention. As simple as that. We're included in a spiritual network of connections between us, not a corporeal one. And having the intention to connect ourselves in Israel, Oaita, and Kuchabrichu are one, where I, the Creator, and the group are one. And we discover only that light which fulfills the whole of reality. If all of us are yearning to discover that state, and the light, through the studying, through the reading of the Zohar, has to discover that state to us, then it has to be ever more burning. If I feel that my intention weakens, I'm 100% dependent on everyone here. Here we really have a touch of the work in the spiritual network. we enter through this, the spiritual world, we work in it to the extent as much as we can, hold the intention and hold it together. We're already doing that in the corporeal world, only it has to be revealed so towards us that that's how it is, and we demand the light to reveal it. So it's impossible that I'm next to the Zohar not thinking about that.
All right. We'll get to that in a second. So are we ready for our collective intention? What should that intention be? I like to, let's even build it together, okay? Let's, please write in the chat just a few words of what our collective intention that we're going to do now. We'll take like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and we'll all focus on that intention together. But let's first build this intention. Let's contribute. Let's chip into it. So right here in the chat, here, well, in your computer, but for me it's here and here. So write in the chat what your intention, what you want it to be. Take into account that we want to connect it somehow to this collective soul, to bestowal, to doing it for the well-being of others, for the benefit of others. Maybe I'll start to be together as one, okay? So together as one. I'll just write here on the board a few of the things that we want to kind of collect together as so then we can kind of help focus on it. Together as one. I'll add what Javier wrote for collective correction. Okay, hope you can see that. Wow, so many are coming in. We're not going to be able to write all of them down, but definitely check out the chat and that will already inspire you, I guarantee. I see the YouTube chat is more active. So Facebook guys, wake up. Give us your intention. Let's see what else we have here. Wow. Love that brings peace, unity, wisdom, truth. Wow, there are so many things here. I'll just read them out, okay, and that will kind of set our intention together. There's no way I'll be able to fit all this into a page. Wow, it's still going. I'll just maybe write in a few things here. Together as one for collective correction. I saw adhesion. To nature or the creator. Doesn't matter how you want to call it. I saw to raise the collective intention. I'll read the rest because I'm out of room here, and this is amazing. Really, I'm just inspired by what's happening here. So basically, we have better sense to all for the Creator, to bring perfect health, sustainability to all of humanity, all of nature, to bring contentment to our Creator, to love the fellow man, to bring unity. To raise the collective intention, to bring balance, connectedness, one love, bring everyone to the Creator with me, holiness unto the Lord, world peace within, to bring everyone to love thy neighbor, to bring wealth and peace and healing nature and becoming one, all as one, to bring equivalence of form, spiritual truth, connection. I'll just write a few more things here. Connection, equivalence, spiritual truth. Oh, you can't see that one. Hopefully you can. Spiritual truth. Ascension to ascent. Great. Even now, as we're reading this, this is a great opportunity to hold on to the intention, to already start formulating it within. And I guarantee that you will start feeling how it begins to resonate to something greater, not just something that's locked up inside of you, because in Kabbalah, that's not an intention. It's when this spark of yours bursts out from inside and starts connecting to this collective soul. So even now, as I'm reading this and as we're kind of building it together, try and start doing this, already focusing on this. Let's see what else we have here. Health, sustainability to all of humanity, wanting to help each other. What else do we have? Understanding each other, one humanity. Did I write here already? One humanity. To elevate the world. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I'm drawing this to myself. Man. All right, so now you get all of it. Okay. So let's take really 30 seconds and let's really, no matter where we are, from all around the world, and we saw we have people here from everywhere, let's try and build this collective intention right here and right now. The intention to be as one, to basically, no matter what intention you kind of focus on, what you want to hold is simply this picture, that this is you, and if you connect to everyone else in this collective soul, then you're connecting to the entire system of nature. You're correcting the only thing that's broken in reality. There is nothing else that is broken other than that connection between us, between feeling as these separate beings here, right? This feeling of separateness that we're all focusing on our own intention, that's the only thing that was shattered in reality. All we need to do is we need to focus together, and that will immediately bring light to this world, to yourselves, to your families, to anything that you're connected to. So let's do it. Let's take 30 seconds from now, and let's hold on to this intention. If you really have the urge to do something, then maybe write in the chat or click the like or something like that, you know, like a heart. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Wow. I'm a little bit speechless, honestly. I first want to thank you for this connection. David wrote, you know, why 30 seconds? Let's do it all day. That's absolutely what we're aiming for. Yep, I can see all the likes coming up there. Yep. Can I also do a like? Let's see if I can. Yes, I can. There it goes. So I joined you. and that was for you, that one. That's an intention in Kabbalah. It's really yearning to lift everyone. It's not an intention for myself that I want to be better off or succeed in something. We have these thoughts all the time, and they're fine. They're fine. They're natural. But the intention is constantly striving to go higher than that, to reach this thought of this force of nature, of this loving force of nature, to want to be like it, to want to be a part of it. And I think really what we had here, and I know I can see, I can feel that we all experienced it together. I can't really see it in word here or there. I know that I can feel it, and I know that all of you who just participate in this can feel it too. And even if you're watching this as a recording, by the way, you can still tap into this force, because this energy that we just created between us, it's timeless. It isn't related to the measurements of this world as we know them. You know, according to the hour now, it's 3:45. It's not. It's above that. Any time you tap in to a true spiritual intention, you're tapping into something that is above time and above space. And I can see that a lot of you wrote hearts and things like that, etc. And some of you maybe didn't feel anything, and that's also possible. And if you didn't feel anything, then it's not a bad thing. It can even be good. It means that you have something ahead of you. Because as long as you're connecting to reality through this layer over here, right, then what you'll feel is you feel corporeality, and that's all you feel. And the second you start peeling off this external layer, we didn't really talk about that, but what's covering this point in the heart here, if we enlarge this for a second, then this is the ego. And this is the point in Kabbalah. It's called the point in the heart. So, point in the heart. And the point in the heart, oops, there you go. I'll move for a sec so you can see. There you go. So, ego and the point in the heart. So, if you didn't feel anything, then it means that you need to tune in to this collective soul. And it's not something that you can necessarily do immediately. Sometimes it takes practice. You know, if I teach you now some kind of a trick to do, I don't know, to juggle, even if I give you all the tips, will you be able to juggle immediately right away? Probably not. You're going to have to need some practice. And in Kabbalah it's no different, and it's ongoing work. But I can tell you this, that even if you do not feel anything, if what you want is you want to feel it, again, it's like an intention before an intention. That's also something. It's like a prayer before prayer. If you want it to work on you, then you're already connecting to this system. So, who was it that wrote there that they didn't feel anything? There were, I think, a couple of people. Can't see the name here, but anyway, so I think Omiros. Okay, Omiros. So you wrote nothing here. So let's say, Omiros, that you want to feel it. You're seeing everyone around you, and everyone's talking about this intensity they're feeling and this power of love, and something that's, you know, it could be interpreted in a lot of ways. But the fact that you want to feel this, then you're already connecting to this system above. You know, you're already connecting to this system, and it's called the surrounding light. So even if it's not yet revealed inside your vessel, inside your feeling, inside your sensation, it's already influencing you. And I guarantee that if you try it a little more and try it again, and even watch this video again, because I said it's not related to time or space or anything like that. Watch the video again, try it again, or if you want an environment that supports this, then you can sign up to our course on Kabbalah, which actually opened today. Kabbalah Revealed Part 1, where you get all the fundamentals of Kabbalah. I'm sure in just a few seconds Rachel is going to post it in the chat there. So thank you, Rachel, and you can check that out if you're not signed in already. I see a lot of names here that are already in Kabbalah, so that's a great place to practice it. And maybe before we conclude, I wanted to show you another clip, a clip from our great instructor, Tony, and it's from a series called the Meaning of Life series, and it's the 4th clip in the series, and I'm sure that you're going to have a link in that as well. So let's watch this clip before we come to a conclusion. So here we go.
The purpose of life is to provide us with the means to become aware of and then intentionally grow into an inner nature that's identical to the force that set life in motion. And the supreme pleasure of revealing a single unlimited giving force behind all sensations and events on that journey, and eventually in you, is the meaning of life. The problem is that we're built to receive everything. It's all we can do, even when we think that we're giving. But this is only true physically, because for us, bestowal can never be defined by our physical actions. Even an external act of giving is still something we receive and ultimately aim to benefit from. So the deciding factor isn't that we're bound to receive, but how we receive. The direction of the intention with which we do receive, for whom and for what. That determines both the scope of our awareness and the well-being of all the aspects of nature still waiting to be in our conscious care. Our intentions are purposely concealed from us by the ego, which is beyond tricky. Their correct use never comes to mind in this world, not even in our imagination. And the goal is not something that you can attain on your own, because you aren't and never have been on your own. The intended transformation is a collaboration, an emotional integration into the broader interconnected reality. And that's impossible to achieve through something that you or someone else invented. It has to be passed down, received and learned from those who have also received it and attained it. Genuine Kabbalah is the science of purpose, and its appearance in our lives is the milestone marking the start of the conscious stage of our evolution, the beginning of receiving what can only be called wisdom. It's a tangible offer of a hand up from the upper force with an accurate map and a method of how to invert our intention and learn to live in the next, much more caring stage of human development. Kabbalah is just a term, a name for human comprehension of nature in its totality, which is the only compulsory course in the school of life. There is great beauty, depth, and precision in it. In other words, meaning. But studying it involves something very different than the study of other things. It's not the accumulation of knowledge, though there's plenty in it to be had. It's an attainment, a direct grasp and appreciation connecting us to how everything in existence works, what motivates and brings pleasure, and how we can not only receive that delight, but be a source of it for others too. In this science, it's your transformation and the changes in your inner qualities that is the laboratory exposing nature's deepest secret treasures. Because all of nature opens to us when we become inwardly similar to it.
All right, what can I say? Except for thank you for an amazing session. When I myself experienced this topic, the power of the intention, that it truly is the greatest force in reality, and you can't just listen or believe anyone. You have to experience it yourself. You have to feel this force, connect to it, let it lift you, let it elevate you, and by doing that, then you'll taste and see yourselves that this is light, this is life. So it's great to be here with you all, and I'll see you next week for Kabbalah Explained Simply, every week at 2 p.m. Central European Time, and that's 1 p.m. I think Universal Time. So you'll get notified. It'll be here as a reminder or through emails. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to our channels to get notifications. So thank you guys. Thank you all very, very much. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.